Live from the World Trade Center offices, we are proud to present Growing Global 2021. Now, here's your host, Debbie Monterey.
Welcome to Growing Global 2021. My name is Debbie Monterey, and I am the co-host of Total Information AM on KMOX. And this is my 17th year as MC of Growing Global. And just as we did last year, we are back hosting today's event from the beautiful studios of HEC Media. And speaking of last year, you might recall that we had an opportunity to hear from Southwest Airlines Chairman and CEO Gary Kelly as we were in the earlier stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. And it was a thought-provoking discussion from a business leader managing a crisis in the moment and trying to predict where things were headed. Well, today, we take a new angle on that situation. Joining us later in the program is our featured speaker, Mr. Arnold Donald, President and CEO of Carnival Corporation and PLC. The cruise industry is working to solve some of the more complex COVID challenges of a business environment and an economy impacted in every way. We'll have the opportunity to ask Mr. Donald what lessons he and his leadership team have learned over the past year and a half and how he applies these to business today. Global leadership during a pandemic is truly unchartered territory for any CEO. With the help of Mr. Donald and a few others, there are lessons you too can apply to your organization or business. Before we jump into the program, the World Trade Center St. Louis wants to say thank you to the many sponsors who made today possible. This year, Growing Global international level sponsors include Asian American Chamber of Commerce, Bank of America, Bayer, Boeing Institute of International Business at St. Louis University, Brian Cave Leighton Paisner, Centene, HEC Media, KMOX, Nestle Purina, Spire, St. Louis Economic Development Partnership, and the Boeing Company. Growing Global domestic level sponsors include Alliance STL, the Maxine Clark and Bob Fox Foundation, and United Technologies. Finally, we have a strong list of regional level sponsors now appearing on your screen. We have many more who have contributed to today's success, and the World Trade Center St. Louis and its board of directors say thank you very much. I am now pleased to welcome our two local elected leaders, St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones and St. Louis County Executive Sam Page, both actively involved in our work, including hosting dignitary visits and events for our 16 Sister Cities programs and promoting St. Louis as a place for international connectivity and foreign investment. We appreciate you joining us today, Mayor Jones.
Thank you, Debbie. And thank you to the World Trade Center and the St. Louis Economic Development Partnership for organizing this year's Growing Global event. Since becoming mayor of St. Louis, I have enjoyed the unique opportunity to sit down with business and government leaders from around the world. These meetings provide me the platform to share my vision of St. Louis as a global city with unparalleled business assets, diverse populations, and cultural experiences, yet equal opportunities for all of its citizens. To accomplish this vision, we need influential, globally minded leaders at all levels and organizations. This is also why I'm glad to see the World Trade Center visit the topic of global leadership with a person many of us are familiar with, Mr. Arnold Donald, President and CEO of Carnival Corporation. In the midst of COVID-19, the cruise and hospitality industry are working to solve some of the more complex challenges of an evolving business environment and global economy impacted in every way. Mr. Donald happens to be one of our own, a global business leader who still considers St. Louis his home. And while he leads the largest cruise company in the world from offices here and in Miami, I agree with his quote in a recent St. Louis Post-Dispatch interview that anything important goes through St. Louis. Thank you for participating in today's important discussion and for your continued work in making St. Louis a more global community and economic center.
Thank you, Debbie and Mayor Jones, for your comments. I look forward to hearing Arnold Donald's thoughts and advice as well. I know firsthand the difficult decisions that leaders at all levels have faced over the course of the past 18 months. The coronavirus pandemic has placed extraordinary demands on our community, our businesses, and our political systems. Today's program provides all of us an opportunity to reflect on this environment and think ahead as we lead our respective organizations and communities. I congratulate the World Trade Center and the St. Louis Economic Development Partnership for their work in hosting this discussion and reinforcing the importance of our international relationships and work. Growing Global has become such an important event for the St. Louis business community. It's an annual opportunity for global leaders to discuss and debate the role that the international connectivity has on our lives and our economy. Despite the challenges we face as a result of COVID-19, we must continue to place a priority on our global work. These relationships help to support our businesses and the workforce from around the world that calls St. Louis home. To put that in perspective, in St. Louis, 50,000 jobs are supported by nearly 300 foreign-owned companies, and exports support more than 95,000 local jobs. Thank you to the World Trade Center and to the St. Louis Mosaic Project for leading our international efforts, and to all of you for joining us again this year.
Thank you both for those comments. We are truly grateful for your strong support of the partnership and the World Trade Center and our collective work toward greater global engagement. We are now joined by the World Trade Center St. Louis Executive Director, Mr. Tim Nowak. Tim?
Thank you, Debbie, for leading us through today's discussion on global leadership. The past 18 months have truly been unprecedented. The challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic have required strong leadership skills and tremendous resiliency. I like to think that our team at the World Trade Center and St. Louis Mosaic Project have demonstrated just that, leadership and remarkable resiliency. In the past year, working with our state and federal export partners, the World Trade Center launched an initiative to identify and support new exporters with a strong focus on minority and women-owned businesses in and around St. Louis's Promise Zone. The goal is to increase the number of new exporters, especially entrepreneurs of color, and support their access to global markets. In November, we facilitated our first outbound flight from the live animal export facility at St. Louis Lambert International Airport. And with it, we realized that pigs really do fly. To date, with strong support from the St. Louis County Port Authority, the World Trade Center administers an export incentive program that has led to 4 international flights of 640 live animals with an export value exceeding $2.1 million. Working with our colleagues at the St. Louis Economic Development Partnership and a number of you, we helped to create a formalized business retention and expansion outreach team, linking regional companies who have already chosen to invest in St. Louis with the resources and support to continue to grow and create jobs in this community. This effort is of particular interest to our work as we reach out to the more than 250 foreign-owned companies who call St. Louis home. Our Mosaic Project team has been a valuable partner in supporting the work of the International Institute toward the successful resettlement of at least 1,000 Afghan refugees, assisting with language access and workforce opportunities. These new additions to St. Louis bring much-needed skills and talent to further enrich our community and benefit its businesses. And our team works daily supporting immigrant entrepreneurs, connecting them to the region's ecosystem for financial and business support, including grants and economic assistance. In our work, we frequently talk about the 3 key equal ingredients necessary for any community to be a competitive global city: people, trade, and investment. We need talent from around the world. We need our businesses selling their goods in markets across the globe. And we need foreign companies investing in St. Louis. From our work in assisting small business access to global markets to our world-class support for foreign-owned companies and their global talent, The World Trade Center and Mosaic team continues to demonstrate the type of resiliency and leadership that will benefit this community long term. I'm very proud to work with this team, and I know many of you are too. One key program that we are particularly proud to support is the International Spouse Meetup Group and International Mentoring Program. Together, these two initiatives connect more than 600 international spouses and provide in-depth mentoring to more than 150 international women, mostly from the region's largest companies and universities. Talk about world-class foreign investment aftercare. No other program like this exists, and it's right here in St. Louis. Take a look.
I'm from Brazil. I came here to St. Louis because my husband got transferred. I didn't know where St. Louis was. I knew no one.
I am a scientist in the biotech field. Our base is in California, Bay Area. After long conversations, we decided to come here, so I had a zero expectation.
In the beginning, I didn't want to come at all. Didn't want to leave my job. It was hard on me, it was hard on my husband.
I was not worried so much about myself, but for my kids changing in the high school.
The International Mentoring Program is something that makes us feel welcome. The program eases that isolation. This program is priceless.
The St. Louis International Mentoring Program helps families who are moving to St. Louis acclimate and become part of our community. Our organization supports individuals and families who have found professional opportunities in St. Louis. We match them with St. Louisans who serve as volunteer mentors to help them feel at home.
The International Mentoring Program is something that looks at your likes and dislikes, your lifestyle, and tries to match you with an American or someone who's been living here for long enough that can help you.
I had lived in Germany for 2 years, and so I was really interested in getting to know international women and helping them because I knew what it was like to be in a new country and have all those things that you don't know how to do or where to find.
We serve as a vital resource to over 140 companies and organizations who want to recruit and retain international talent.
Our mission is to internationalize St. Louis. We need people who want to move here to St. Louis, who want to see St. Louis as a place to build their business, to have a family, to raise a family.
International Mentoring Program started with Susan Gobo and Annie Schlafly, and the two of those amazing dynamic women have grown this from a conversation over coffee to now 300 plus members.
The St. Louis International Mentoring Program started out in 2017 with just 10 members. Now we've connected more than 350 international and local families. By 2024, we want to reach 1,500 participants.
There isn't another program like this that I'm aware of in the United States.
One of the ways that LUSCO has been able to recruit more professional engineers and people that had the experience was partnering with the International Mentoring Program.
Our members are highly educated and successful individuals representing over 50 countries across generations. They work in diverse fields, from life sciences to engineering to technology, and live throughout the bi-state region.
Plan was I'm coming here for 3 years and leaving, and testament to how I really enjoy and like it is we chose to stay longer now.
During the one-year program, St. Louis mentors and international mentees are paired together. In one-on-one and small group gatherings, they can participate in fun activities like wine and cheese nights, volleyball games, cooking classes, and virtual events.
My role as a mentor, initially I thought, was to make those introductions. What I didn't realize is that out of it, I got a really great friendship.
The St. Louis International Mentoring Program is a proven solution. We successfully integrate talented foreign-born newcomers into our community. Facilitating intercultural connections is vital for St. Louis economic growth and global competitiveness. And making our city inclusive, diverse, and vibrant is essential to who we are.
And I love St. Louis. I'm the mother of 2 young children, 2 boys, 7 and 8. And I couldn't imagine a better place to raise them than here.
St. Louis isn't just a community of St. Louisans. It's a rich, international network of people, energy, and ideas. As a city, we are growing in so many ways. We know that by forging close, personal connections, we can make the region an even more vibrant, inclusive, and desirable place to work and live.
So he's happy, I'm happy, kids are happy, we're a happy family.
Thank you, Tim. What an inspiring video and inspiring work being led by Annie Schlafly, Susan Gobo, and the St. Louis Mosaic Project. It is now my pleasure to introduce the recipient of World Trade Center St. Louis's 2021 Global Ambassador Award. As with years past, the World Trade Center has dedicated a tree in the name of the award winner on Government Hill near the World's Fair Pavilion in Forest Park. The trees represent the efforts made by each recipient to grow St. Louis's image as a globally connected community. For more than 20 years, Ann Pardalos led the International Trade and Investment Office at the Missouri Department of Economic Development. During this time, Ann's leadership in implementing international engagement strategies has led to remarkable growth in state and local exports and foreign direct investment, creating thousands of new jobs and increased economic activity. As an export partner, the World Trade Center has witnessed firsthand her statewide contributions and respected national leadership. But we also thought it might be appropriate to hear from a few of Ann's bosses over the years to get their perspective on what she has meant to Missouri's international work. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Governor Mike Parson, and what a great honor it is today to recognize a good friend of mine and also a fellow state employee, and recognize Ann for her accomplishments she has done for the state of Missouri and for the Office of Economic Development. And Ann, I just want to tell you personally, as the governor of the state of Missouri, I've had the opportunity to work with you for 3 years and seen the excellence you provide in representing the people of this state, the accomplishments you've made on so many overseas trips. And I'm telling you, I'm proud every day that you represent Missourians first class all across the world. Congratulations on your award today. It's an honor and privilege to be your governor of the great state of Missouri.
First of all, Ann, congratulations. What a career. All of us that know you, worked with you, traveled with you, and saw your indefatigable effort on behalf of the people of the Show Me State send a hearty congratulations to you in the next phase of your life. As many of you know, I've had the opportunity to travel internationally with Ann, and it is a really interesting endeavor. You feel like you are completely taken care of for the task at hand, and she is always prepared, one step ahead of everybody. I hope she sleeps when she gets back. But more importantly, at a time in which the world seems to be getting so more difficult to deal with, so easy to say, just stay here at home, Ann has continued not only in her work, but in the way she is and the way she talks to people to explain that we're part of a world community, and that means economically. We have to buy and sell things around the world. And Missouri needs to be a significant player in that. And you're not a significant player if you're not on that field. For many years, Ann pushed, prodded, and moved, not only me, but other governors and other officials, to push for Missouri, and it's paid off in huge ways, huge ways. Tonight is not a night about all of the various projects and investments we've got. It's about how one woman decided to use her career to support a state right here in the Midwest, to push it forward economically around the world, and how much good came from that Greek woman's intensity of spirit and focus. Ann, Godspeed.
And congratulations on the St. Louis World Trade Global Ambassador Award. No one is more deserving of this award than you. I worked with you from 1994 to 2004, both as a state treasurer and later as governor. And you really made our trips remarkable, achievable, and very successful. Our trip to China was monumental. and its impact on establishment of relationships with our state and China. Then the same with Mexico. You know how to pull people together to build an operation to be successful. In fact, I've watched you for years as a leader in the SIDA organization, the State International Development Organization, that really represents all of the states in the United States in foreign affairs. And you've been a leader in that organization for the entire time that I was involved. And I thank you and all the organizations that you've worked with and made so successful. You deserve the credit. Congratulations once again.
Those were terrific remarks. Thank you, Governor Parson and former Governors Nixon and Holden. And so many people watching today know how deserving you are to be added to the distinguished list of World Trade Center Global Ambassador Award winners. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our honor to present the 2021 Global Ambassador Award to Miss Ann Pardalos.
I would like to thank the Board of Directors and the amazing team at the World Trade Center St. Louis for this most prestigious honor. I'm humbled and genuinely grateful. As I scan across the years of my tenure at the Missouri Department of Economic Development, and more specifically the International Trade and Investment Office, I am in awe of the efforts of our global team, our department, and our state. As the state's lead agency for export and investment promotion, primarily responsible for providing technical assistance to Missouri exporters, I've had a front row seat in watching our small manufacturers make global connections, consummate deals, and ultimately grow their businesses. I've had the ride of a lifetime working with CEOs all across the state, our community leaders, our economic developers, and of course with stellar partner agencies like the World Trade Center St. Louis. At the same time, I've had the great privilege to serve under 7 extraordinary governors and their administrations, and have had the great honor to travel the world with all of them. More importantly, however, I am grateful for their trust in allowing me to represent our state abroad and for their unyielding assistance of the countless international initiatives and activities they've helped to support. For example, we've welcomed VIP delegations to Missouri that included visits by the Emperor of Japan, Vice Premier of China right here in St. Louis, and even a member of the British royal family. We've landed countless foreign investment projects that have created thousands of jobs for our citizens and immeasurable economic impact for their communities. We've crafted state trade deals with other subnational entities that led to millions of dollars of increased exports on behalf of our exporters. We've advocated on behalf of Missouri's industries to make certain that they were given a seat at the table when our federal government negotiated important trade deals. We've gone toe-to-toe with our state legislature to ensure that our exporters had the same resources available to them as available to their counterparts in other states. And so many other important initiatives geared to raising the profile of this state in global markets each and every day. This state, my home state of Missouri, has given me a world of opportunities, and I will always be grateful. But economic development is not a solo endeavor, but a team sport. I would like to thank the extensive Missouri network of international trade partners, colleagues, and of course governors that have helped and supported my work throughout the years. I am eternally grateful to each of you. My special thank you, though, to Tim Nowak and Stella Sheehan of the World Trade Center St. Louis. Our partnership was built upon our professional work related to trade and investment promotion for the St. Louis region. But I'm blessed that it has resulted in a personal friendship. Thank you again for this recognition.
Congratulations again, Ann. It is now my pleasure to introduce the CEO and President of the St. Louis Economic Development Partnership, Mr. Rodney Krim.
I want to congratulate the World Trade Center St. Louis, the international division of the St. Louis Economic Development Partnership, for these great growing global events. We are excited about the projects that our partnership teams are working on. Our 39 North Ag Tech Innovation District team is working with the World Trade Center and ag trade organizations in places including the United Kingdom, Argentina, and Ireland to bring international ag companies to St. Louis. Our World Trade Center and Mosaic teams are working with our federal designated Promise Zone team to identify minority-owned, women-owned, and immigrant-owned businesses to support their access to new global markets. While international trade is critical to large corporations, it is important to remember that this is also a great avenue for smaller, local, Main Street companies who want to scale up and export their goods to a global market. With the impact of COVID-19 on businesses, it has made importing and exporting more complicated, but certainly still a significant part of companies' business plans and growth models. These companies are pivoting and navigating their way through the pandemic. And like those businesses, we also have pivoted. The partnership teams spent considerable time working with small businesses to get funding, technical support, and consulting to help keep business growing through the pandemic when many were unsure if they would actually make it. And we are continuing to work with businesses as we shift to a recovery and growth model. We revamped our Business Retention and Expansion BRE Committee. We facilitate this regional committee that now includes our local and state economic development partners, the utility companies, and others, all focused on keeping and growing businesses in the St. Louis region. At the beginning of the pandemic, all the economic development organizations in the St. Louis region came together to share issues and solutions with each other. This was particularly helpful, and this group continues to meet, resulting in best practices and recovery opportunities for the region. The theme of this growing global event is Lessons in Global Leadership. This is such an important conversation for us to have now. We are so pleased that Arnold Donald, a great friend of St. Louis, is here to share his comments. Thank you, Arnold, and thanks to our World Trade Center team.
Thank you so much, Rodney. It is a pleasure right now to welcome our guest speaker here, who is someone who is keenly aware of the way the COVID-19 pandemic has affected business on a global scale. He, of course, is Arnold Donald, who is the president and CEO of Carnival Corporation and PLC. Thank you so much for being with us at Growing Global.
Glad to be here with you at Growing Global and looking forward to our conversation.
Well, Carnival is certainly a global company, and I have to say, Arnold, that I have thought of you quite a lot over the last 18 months or so, because I don't know if there's any other industry that has been more severely impacted than the travel and hospitality industry, where your business literally was shut down for a number of months. You also are on the World Travel and Tourism Council. You're chairing that. So another huge role for you. So before we talk a little bit specifically about how you dealt with the pandemic as it was unfolding, let's talk a little bit about the present and the future as you see it. So where does your company stand right now, today?
Well, first, as you point out, and thanks for thinking of me and thinking of us and thinking of travel and tourism. You know, it's been devastating, the pandemic has been for travel and tourism globally, just absolutely devastating. With people not being able to socialize, clearly they're not able to travel for an extended period of time. We voluntarily paused our operations at the time, over 100 ships that we paused worldwide. We had to get 90,000 crew members home safely at a time when, you know, borders were closed, airlines weren't flying. Even when we got to some places to get them home, the countries wouldn't accept their own people. So we had to keep them safe and take care of them. And eventually we got them all home safely. But right now, the present, we're excited. So the present, we're thrilled. We have over 20 ships sailing around the world, several here in the U.S. We have, you know, great demand from consumers, and, you know, we call them, because they are our guests. And so we have great demand from guests. The Net Promoter Scores, the guest satisfaction scores are sky high. We have great protocols, so we are serving sailing with the best interest of public health in mind and serving our guests with public health in mind. And it's a very thrilling experience to have people back to work, to have guests back on the ships, and to be doing what we love to do, which is give people joyful vacation experiences and lifelong memories. So we have a ways to go. It's going to be choppy. It's going to be somewhat slower than any of us would like, with Delta variants and other things that pop up around the world related to the pandemic. But we're on the slow march back, and it's thrilling.
It's been, I'm sure, very involved because your company sails to many foreign ports, and as far as the World Travel and Tourism Council, you're dealing with world tourism, so many different rules, regulations, governmental bodies. What is that like, having to deal with that on a daily basis?
Well, as you point out, pre-COVID, we sailed to over 700 destinations around the world, most beautiful places in the world, but 700 of them. And so we do have to deal with a lot of government bodies, and it's not just individual countries, but it's all the various entities within a country. Even here in the U.S., we have the Center for Disease Control, of course, but we have all the local port authorities, the mayors, the governors, et cetera. And around the world, it's a similar kind of thing, the ministries of health, ministries of transportation, ministries of tourism, and so on. So it is quite a complex to navigate. But it's what we do, and it's what we have done. And as head of World Travel and Tourism Council, that's all of travel and leisure, so hotels, resorts, airlines, et cetera. And there, what we're seeking to do is accomplish four things. First, to make certain that everything is data-driven and science-driven and risk-based, and that there's some harmonization around the world of protocols so that people can travel frictionless. Secondly, to make certain that people are encouraged to be vaccinated, and then that there's some type of easy process. In Europe, there's a digital pass, but some easy process so when people are traveling, they're not overly hassled. They can show they've been vaccinated, or that they've taken the proper tests, or they've had COVID and therefore have some immunity, et cetera. But something that's easy for people to execute, and then to make sure that the standards are high and that they're common, so that as an individual, when you travel, you're held to a common standard, but a standard of protocols that reflect the situation. When I say they're common, they're not necessarily always homogeneous, because the spread is different in different communities at different times. And so some places might require social distancing and mask wearing and so on, but we want the standards to be high because we want to make certain that we're doing everything to mitigate the spread of the virus.
I think it might have been the end of last year when we were still in the grips of this, and I heard you say on one of the national news shows, you said there is pent-up demand for travel, and people went, oh, I don't know about that. But truly, consumer travel has been leading. Even our airport director here says business travel has not caught up, but clearly people want to get out and see the world and get out of their homes.
The wonderful thing about travel, as you know, because I know you travel a good little bit, is that you travel. It's in our nature. We want to experience new and different things, and it's a wonderful thing because people then discover what they have in common, so they learn to celebrate the differences rather than to fear them. And so with crews, I have crew from 145 different countries. As I mentioned to you, we go to 700 destinations around the world, and so crew to crew, crew to guests, guests to locals, crew to locals in the destinations. It's a wonderful way to bring the world together so people really learn about each other. And then it just makes the world a better place. But people thrive on travel. They enjoy it. Some love the nature. Some love, connection with other people. They love just sharing the special moments with their own family and loved ones. So there's always demand for it, but we have to make certain that we make it possible, and that's where WTTC comes in, make it possible for people to be able to travel safely, healthily, but easily.
I think a lot of St. Louisans are used to seeing your face. You've been a part of the St. Louis community for years from your time at Monsanto, and we're also used to seeing you on TV, especially over the last 18 months. You certainly have not shied away from talking about this pandemic and its impact on your business. I think one of the things that has impressed me is, all of us have obviously been impacted by this, and some of us have been a little down about it, some of us more than others, but you have unfailingly been extremely positive every time I've seen you, and even off camera, you're a very positive guy. How do you maintain that, especially when so much was unknown, when your ships were all docked, and honestly, you had no idea when they were going to start sailing again? How do you stay so positive?
I think, I'm practical, but I am positive. And if you think about it, just think about 18 months ago, we didn't even know what this was. People didn't know the epidemiology of the virus. They didn't know how it was being transmitted. I mean, there was hardly any knowledge about it at all. So just 18 months later, the world has multiple vaccines, advanced treatments in the event you do get the virus, established, well-recognized now protocols to help mitigate the spread of the virus in just 18 months. And it shows the knowledge and the power and what happens when the world pulls together and identifies a problem and tries to address it. And so I've seen that at other times through my education experience and through my life experience, that you see that when challenges come, people organize around them and address them. And I do that in my business as well. And so, this is a challenging time. But we came into this with a very strong credit rating and a very strong business. The fundamentals of our business have not changed. People want to travel. They love cruising. Carnival, AIDA in Germany, Costa in Italy, these are our brands. Cunard in the UK, P&O in the UK, Princess here in the US, Holland America, Seabourn, all different brands, all catering to different tastes at a given moment in time that someone might have. And people love the product. So all the basics are there. And I know that we just have to weather the storm. And so we did what we needed to do financially. We took care of the people as best as we could under the circumstances, more so than a lot of other people, would have chosen to do, because the people for us are everything. We're a hospitality business. When people take a cruise, what they remember most are the other people. They remember the crew. We have beautiful ships with fabulous features on them, like our Mardi Gras, our newest ship for Carnival, has a roller coaster on top. And it's a blast. I mean, it's a great roller coaster. I've ridden it, and it's fantastic. We have great chefs, from Thomas Keller on Seabourn to Guy Fieri, and we have Shaq's new Big Chicken on the Mardi Gras, for example, Emerald. So we have some of the best chefs in the world. We're the best entertainment in the world, So we have all these wonderful things. So we know we have all that. And so the rest is just a matter of managing the moment, addressing the challenge. And most importantly, we have collectively, I mentioned 90,000 on the ships, but pre-COVID, 150,000 employees who are dedicated, committed, motivated, love what they're doing, and their job is to exceed guest expectations while we honor our highest priority: compliance, environmental protection, and the health, safety, and well-being of everyone. And that includes, obviously, all of our guests, the people in the communities that we touch and serve, and then our Carnival family, and that's our shipboard and shoreside personnel.
I think maybe it was about a decade ago, norovirus was a big deal on cruise ships. So anyone who's cruised knows that everywhere you go on the cruise ship, they're spraying you down with hand sanitizer, something the rest of the world has had to catch up to during these last 18 months. So that won't be a big deal for people who cruise. But what other changes might people see if they haven't cruised in a while?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, we had to deal with norovirus, and people call it a cruise, disease or whatever, but it's really not. Norovirus, as you know, is everywhere. In fact, it's an estimated 6% of the U.S. population that gets it every year from kindergartens and public libraries and public transportation, et cetera. And on the cruise ships, the incidence is 0.007% is the last statistic someone shared with me. But we report it. No one else reports it. Schools don't report it. Nobody else reports it, but we report it. So it got characterized as a cruise. But we have to deal with all the viruses, 700 places around the world. So we had to deal with Ebola, Zika, SARS, MERS, all of these things. So we are used to dealing with health issues. And so we have medical centers on board. As you mentioned, we have lots of sanitation, whether it's individual sanitizing stations and hand washing and the stuff that everybody's doing now, but also deep cleaning on the ships constantly and so on. So we had good protocols in place. But this virus obviously is unique. It shut the world down. None of those other viruses shut the entire world down. So we had to understand this one, and now we do. So protocols that we have in place right now, first of all, I encourage everyone to be vaccinated. And I know people have reservations and so on, but the reality is It's the best way to protect yourself and to protect your loved ones. And if you're in any kind of work environment or school environment, whatever, it's the best way to protect your colleagues. Get vaccinated, okay? It will protect you, and as best as you can be protected. And so I would encourage that. So we encourage people to be vaccinated on the cruises. The second thing, of course, is we do testing. We have testing available on the ships, but generally right now, here in the U.S., and it varies from place to place depending on the situation in the country and how high of level the case levels are, et cetera. But right now we are requiring testing prior to boarding, even if you're vaccinated. And then on board, if you show any symptoms at all, obviously we can test on board with both PCR and antigen testing as necessary. So a combination of testing, and then in really congregation areas, we may do a little social distancing, but definitely mask wearing. We recommend that if you're in enclosed areas. But if you're vaccinated and you've tested negative and so on, and you're in outdoor spaces and stuff, then you might choose to wear a mask, but we're not going to force you to do that. But in indoor spaces, we will. But if you're eating and dining, you can dine without a mask as well if you follow the other criteria. So those are some of the examples, but it varies. I have 9 brands. We're in a number of different countries. We have to be in compliance. So whatever the country that we're in, whatever those rules are, we have to follow them, and we will, and we do. And so so there's a lot of variation on that, but those are kind of the core themes.
It has been a struggle for a lot of companies trying to keep up with different rules and regulations and perhaps vaccine mandates. What would you say, just hospitality industry aside, just for business leaders in general, what do you see for the economy and for business growth just in the coming months? What's your assessment of how things look?
I think the most important thing, again, is we have to encourage people to be vaccinated. And I know a number of people are resistant to that, but the reality is it's the best way to keep everybody, to give them the least risk of being hospitalized or worse. So even vaccinated, you may get the virus, but if you're vaccinated, and as the data will show, it's highly unlikely. In most cases, you'll be asymptomatic or have very minor symptoms, but it's highly unlikely you'll be hospitalized or worse, and that's the most important thing. So if we can get to that stage, like with the flu or a cold, that yeah, you may get a little sick, but you can move on with your life, and we don't have to shut everything down around you, then we can get the economy rolling again. Now, I know the economy appears to have done well, and to some degree during this period of time, and people talk about labor shortages, et cetera, but the stimulus money, is going to run out eventually, and people are going to have to get back to work and find a way to make a living, and countries can't just keep printing money because that'll implode, as we both know. And so it's really important that we deal with this health thing in the right way, so that then people psychologically can move about their business and return to work, and we can return to all the things we love to do. So
we have seen a lot of fighting on the governmental side, whether it's local, county, state, governmental bodies doing different things and kind of making the landscape a little confusing for people. Has it been like that on a global level? Or has this perhaps maybe, as far as you are dealing with people from around the world, has it brought people closer together of trying to figure out how to fix this?
I think it's a yin and a yang. There's no question that some of the controversy and some of the positioning that you see that frustrates us all, that's happened globally. It's not just in the U.S. At the same time, there's lots of examples and evidence where people have pooled resources, come together, and made really insightful, positive decisions. So there's a little bit of both. And obviously we like a lot less of the combative, fragmenting, taking an arbitrary stand on things, kinds of positions that we see here in the U.S. and other places, all over the place. We like a lot less of that and a lot more of the collaboration. And certainly at WTTC, we encourage that. And then through our Industry Association for Cruise, CLIA, we encourage that. And as an individual company, we do.
One of the things that we love about Growing Global each year is celebrating St. Louis area companies that are doing big things globally. And it's always very impressive. Obviously, the last 18 months, some companies have had to scale back or pivot. Any suggestions or advice that you'd like to give to St. Louis area companies who may have had a tough go of it these last 18 months?
I'd offer some encouragement, and I would say stay the course. You know, that you know what value you bring in and what the basic product or service that you provide, and stay the course. And I can only offer our example, not like it's the way to do it, but maybe it offers somebody some insight. So, you know, for us, we had to make certain we could withstand an indeterminate length of time that we were going to have to pause operations. So we had to get liquidity. And luckily we had a super strong credit rating. We had, at the time, uninhibited assets. And so we were able to go into the market. And we raised $23.6 billion in 14 different transactions. Even though we were on pause, we can't park the ships. The ships have to continue to operate. So we had minimal manning on the ships, and they're still out there operating. And so we had a heavy burn rate of, for a period of time, $600 million a month.
A month.
With no revenue.
$600 million a month.
With zero revenue. With no revenue coming in, okay?
And you're still smiling.
And so we had to raise, money. And the other thing is we had to raise the money virtually. Nobody was in an office. We weren't in an office. The lawyers weren't in an office. The bankers weren't in an office. The investors weren't in an office. So we literally raised $23.6 billion in 14 transactions. And now we've done several refinancings since then to give us, to help our balance sheet, to get the interest rates down and so on and so forth. So we continue that exercise. But the most important thing is make sure you can survive. So we made sure we did it, and then we aggressively managed cash internally. Yes, we had a burn rate of $600 million. We got that down to $500 million through a lot of effort. But to get it down to $600 million was a lot of effort required, and a lot of discipline on a lot of people's part, and our people were just fantastic. So, weather the storm, prepare yourself to weather the storm. And then the next thing is prepare to come back strong. So during this time, don't waste the crisis. So we looked at every process we had. We continue to do that. And to say, how can we come back stronger as an operating company than we went into this with? So how can we make certain we're poised to take advantage of when things come back, and that we do it in a more powerful way than we were doing it even before this happened. So that would be the second comment. But to stay the course and know who you are and believe in yourself and your company and your people, and just weather the storm and get ready for when it turns around.
Well, Carnival Corporation is a huge company, and I think that you also have kind of a unique perspective because you're one of the few Black Fortune 500 CEOs. Has that contributed at all to your attitude, your mission moving forward? And what would you say to some of our other folks watching today who would like to see more diversity in the boardroom or the CEO status?
I would say that my entire career, I have found diversity and inclusion to be necessary tools for success. During my career, I've helped transform 3 industries, not just 3 companies, but 3 industries. And each time, a catalytic aspect of it was bringing together very diverse people in an inclusive way. And so this is more fact than philosophy. The reality is, in a capitalistic society like ours, communities thrive when businesses thrive. Look at any community. If they had major businesses and they went under, it impacted the community. Education, parks, recreation, arts, everything. It impacts the community. And so communities thrive when businesses thrive. Businesses thrive over time through innovation. If you don't innovate, you become obsolete. You get acquired, you disappear, or whatever. So you have to innovate. Innovation, by definition, is thinking outside the box. It's diversity of thinking. You're far more likely to have diversity of thinking in a sustained way if you have people who are diverse and you're including those diverse points of view. So if you want to create something out of the box, you need people going to think out of the box. And having diverse people doesn't guarantee it, but it increases the probability. So it's an actual mandate for the long-term success of the company and for the communities to, have diversity and make certain that diversity is valued in a way where the thoughts and points of view are inclusive. So I've done that. I did it when I was here at Monsanto Company in the agricultural business when we launched the biotech products. I did it before that in lawn and garden, also at Monsanto when we transformed the lawn and garden industry. And I've done it now in the cruise industry as we've gone about, and I'm very proud of our track record so far, but we got a lot of work to do still on diversity. But we have, our board is very diverse, our leadership team is diverse. We're working to get diversity at all levels on the ships. It's a traditional maritime environment. That's easier said than done. On the other hand, we have a natural resource. I mentioned our crew are from 145 different countries. So we have a lot of diversity naturally, but we have to learn to be inclusive with that diversity. So I think it's really important. Whether they all aspire to be a CEO or not, that's not the point. The point is to have, diversity of thinking and inclusion throughout your organization at all levels and all aspects of it. And if you do that, you're more likely to have sustained success.
Well, we love that you still consider yourself to be a St. Louisan and that you still come back to St. Louis.
Absolutely.
Of course, you're a Washington University graduate, and I know you've probably seen a lot of the wonderful things that are happening in St. Louis and the business community and the growth in different sectors. Obviously, we still have a lot of work to do too, but what's your current assessment of the business climate and our potential growth, and what would you like to see St. Louis doing for the future?
Well, St. Louis, like a lot of cities, has gone through a lot of change. At one point, it was almost, corporate headquarters USA. We had so many different Fortune 500 companies headquartered here, and those times have gone by. But new companies have arisen, like Worldwide Technology, led by David Stewart, or Centene, led by Michael Neidorff. And those are examples of new companies that have emerged from Little Express Scripts, which is now part of something else. But the bottom line is Bayer has now bought Monsanto, et cetera. So I think things always change, but the most important thing in the business community is to help the local people have the opportunity. So social equity. And to make certain that people have the opportunity for education, the opportunity for capital to invest, to build, and to develop things. And then to be an attractive place for people to want to come to. And so arch grants and those types of things that we have here in St. Louis, the Donald Danforth Plant Science Center. We have a number of things that cause other people to say, whoa, this is going on in St. Louis, I need to be there. And the more we do that, through our great educational institutions, Washington University is certainly one of them. I'm on the board there, but we have several other great ones here, and even some of the non-traditional type of educational opportunities that are here in St. Louis. So St. Louis has a lot to offer, great still, cost of living and a great environment. It has a tremendous amount to offer, but we have to stay focused on providing opportunity for everyone, and then making certain we're making it easy for people to come here and experience the great things we have to offer.
Well, you are a very well-rounded person, and I would be remiss in not bringing up that the last time that we saw each other in person was when I was emceeing Dancing with the St. Louis Stars for Independence Center, and you won. So I don't know how many people know that you're also a great dancer. But does that help at all? Because you're light on your feet, you can pivot and dance your way through bad times.
I'm not a great dancer. I love to dance, but my professional partner, she was outstanding, and she made me look really good. But the bottom line is it was a lot of fun, and I definitely encourage people to support the Independence Center. It's a great cause. But it was a lot of fun, and you were a great MC. And you did it a number of years, too, but you were very good at it. You're very good at it.
Well, we really appreciate the time that you're spending with us today for Growing Global, and we encourage everyone to get out there and cruise the world, and thank you for sharing your insights with us today.
Thank you so much. Glad to be with you.
I want to thank Rodney Krim, Governor Parson, former Governors Nixon and Holden, and of course, Arnold Donald, and all of our speakers for their timely and thought-provoking comments. Congratulations again to Ann Pardalos on the 2021 Global Ambassador Award. Thank you to our sponsors and HEC Media once again for their generous support. Before we sign off, there is one more important thing to do. Beyond the tremendous financial support from today's sponsors, our friends at Southwest Airlines loved the travel industry connection with Carnival Corporation. In their words, people fly to their cruises, and we love to help get them there. In that spirit, Southwest generously donated 10 round-trip tickets that we are going to give away right now. A drawing was held of all registered attendees, and the winners are now displayed on your screen. Congratulations! The WTC staff will connect with you to deliver your tickets to you, and thank you again, Southwest Airlines. And thanks again to all of you for joining us today for Growing Global 2021. It is our strong hope to see you all again next year in person. Goodbye.